Hey there, welcome into another fireside chat here at the FreightWaves 3PL Summit. I'm Andrew Cox, Senior Retail Analyst here at FreightWaves. With the rise of digital freight matching and digital freight marketplaces looking to digitize and automate as many processes within the freight movement as they can, it may seem that the model of digital freight matching and relationship-based service are two models that are inherently at odds with one another. With me today to dispel that idea and explain to us how the two must go hand in hand to create the best service is Lily Shen, CEO and President at Transfix. Lily, thanks for joining us and welcome to the summit.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Okay, Lily, so tell me why I'm wrong when I think that DFM and relationship based service are two ends of the spectrum and inherently at odds with one another.
Yeah, it couldn't be farther from the truth. The way to not think about DFM and customer service is actually two ends of the spectrum. If anything, they feed into each other. And a technology platform that's built with and built right for the customer, if anything, should really improve the customer experience and customer service and deliver on a far superior experience. I believe people are always fundamentally looking for simpler, smarter ways to work, and the feedback loop between tech and people is at the core of that.
How do you make sure that they're aligned, the tech and the people, when you're offering service?
It's a great question. I mean, it's everything from it actually starts from even talent, bring on the right people to how you're organized as teams and, across the organization to really just a way of working. And so for us at Transfix, when we bring on talent, we think about T-shaped people. So folks who are incredibly deep at what they do, but also very broad. And what that really brings to the table is obviously, very strong expertise in particular functions, but people who are constantly thinking about systems, constantly thinking about how things should work end to end across all the functions, so that ultimately you're delivering a platform that is end to end and really holistic in thinking.
Lily, I want to come back to that idea of cross functionality and eliminating silos. That's a very common word in today's market. But I want to start with the kind of a chicken and the egg scenario here because I talk to technology providers that go both ways. They say we built out the technology first and then tried to serve customers building relationships with great technology. And I've heard the opposite, that you start with the relationships and then build technology to better serve those relationships. Which is the better path forward?
Absolutely the latter. You have to start with people. You have to start with the relationships. And if you think about the freight industry, this is an industry that has been rooted, right, in people and relationships and people at the heart of all of it, right? You think about our drivers, the dock workers, the facility coordinators, all the people that really help move freight across the world. So you have to start with the people, and you have to start with their experience, their pain points, their challenges, and how you can really improve that. And that's where you bring the technology in. You really think about how you can enhance experience and really empower everyone who's on the front lines, to just to deliver a better experience.
So tell me about eliminating some of the more remedial or the trivial tasks in the process. So you guys aren't trying to eliminate jobs at all. You're trying to enhance jobs through technology. Tell me what type of customer service is able to be achieved when you take out some of the more trivial tasks.
Yeah. So, when I think about taking out the trivial tasks, it's really just making it so much easier for everyone, right? So, we've developed a number of models here internally that's been able to provide, predictive analytics, data insights, and really automate workflows. And so the ways in which that improves customer service is actually it removes some of the tedious tasks, right? That different constituents on the platform have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it really enables them to level up and think about and work on things that they really want to be working on, whether it's thinking about strategy, proactive planning, resourcing, whatever it might be, that's going to help them really build a better business for them.
Lily, in our conversation that we had prior to this recording, we spoke about human-centered design, and you are a veteran of IDEO, probably the mecca of innovation and design and human-centered design in the U.S. Tell me what kind of role human-centered design plays at Transfix.
I would say it's actually at the heart of a lot of that we do. And, again, I'm going to start with the people. And it's actually, we're coming full circle here. It has to start with the people. It has to start with the employees and the people that we have on the team. So, we are incredibly disciplined and thoughtful about every single person that we bring into the company, and that they're creative thinkers, they're really strong problem solvers, but they also have very strong and deep expertise in their functions. So you start with the people. We are organized in such a way that we also, work in pods, and it's a highly collaborative way of working. And we bring together the best across the functions to bring forth, the best solutions to problems for our shippers, for our carriers, and for our drivers. And the other piece that I think is really important for any organization when you talk about human-centered design and thinking and really problem solving, a lot of it comes down to the culture. So, what are the ways in which you work? What are the ways in which you collaborate? How do you think about analogous research? So, you're bringing new perspectives and ideas to the table. That's really going to drive the innovation, right? And really, really reimagine the way things should work.
Lily, you guys build products not only for the client. You guys take customer obsession to a whole nother level through the use of human-centered design. So you guys don't just make products for the client; you make products for the end user within that client. Can you just tell me more about that and why focusing on the end user gives you guys an advantage?
Absolutely. So focusing on the end user really helps us deeply understand the pain points, right? You think about all the work that's required to be done when you're thinking about the world of freight, and there's so much complexity. There's a lot of disinformation. It's incredibly challenging, and so folks across the organization have spent a lot of time with their customers, oftentimes even next to them and even in their seats, really living and breathing their day to day. And that's enabled us to build, really some of the best products for our customers. And obviously, sometimes when you talk about customers, people talk about it in terms of accounts, but we really think about the end user, whether it's the shipper or the carrier or the driver.
And with that in mind, you guys focusing on the end user, tell me how design plays a big role in in your products. So this is something that I've seen along the way, along Airbnb's roadshow and in their perspectives. They talked about how their success is driven because they're a design led team. They've been focused on design from day one, making sure that the product was for the end user, easiest to use. Tell me how that applies at Transfix.
Yeah, we really think about delighting all our customers. And, I think because the industry, is so complex, there's a lot to be said for really bringing simplicity, right, into that experience. So when we think about design, we really think about making our products and experiences far more simpler and a lot smarter, and just really reimagining that for our customers.
This brings me to the Steve Jobs quote on tech: "The best technology is invisible," but that's not the case in transportation exactly, because you need the technology to work on the back end, but the customer, the relationship must be very visible and must be important. Tell me why transportation is different and why the technology can't be invisible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. I think in some ways it is invisible, and in some ways it's not invisible, right? And so the technology can be invisible in that there's a lot of data and processing that you're doing in the back end to be able to deliver a better experience. But because it is invisible, it actually feels extremely seamless to the end user. Now, the reason why it's not entirely invisible is because of the relationships that we have, and because of the interfaces that we're also building for our dispatchers, as well as our shippers as well. And so, I think there's two things. One, we are very front and center with all the customers that we work with. So from that standpoint, we are not invisible for our customers, but our technology and a lot of the data processing obviously is. And at the same time, we're building the experience to really enhance the ways that they work.
So let's talk about some of those products that you've built on top of the marketplace. So you guys have launched products both for carriers and for shippers, a TMS for shippers and a carrier, a fleet manager for carriers. Tell me how you guys are able to bring in data and information and intelligence from both sides of the product or both sides of these products to improve the marketplace.
Sure. Yeah, we've spent years really automating the core platform in terms of digital freight and being able to execute extremely well. And we're really excited about the SaaS software offerings that we've launched over the course of the last 6 months for both our shippers and carriers. And for shippers, it's really enabling them to manage all aspects of their freight on one platform. But not in a silo. So going back to what we were talking about, right? Truly integrated and connected with our marketplace. And similarly, on the carrier side, really building out and launching and providing to them a fleet management tool that's free that makes it so much easier for them to be able to manage and optimize their fleet and also enables us to provide more automation and accessibility to loads for them so they can grow their business.
Okay, so there's the word again, silo. How are they avoided? You touched on it there, but how can you ensure that at its core, data silos are built and inherently, avoided in your product?
Yeah, it's fundamentally how we approach the product, right? So we really think about our offering as an end-to-end platform. And in everything that we do, whether it's how we're working with our customers, the products that we're building, even processes that we're building internally, we think about it at a system level and very, very holistically. So in some ways, I think it's a principle, right? It's a principle in terms of how you're approaching the overall experience and the system that you're building.
So Lily, when I think about this industry and that's going through a lot of change right now, I think about other industries that are intermediary based industries that have also gone through a lot of change that have been disintermediated. What makes freight different and why won't this industry be disintermediated?
Sure, it is the physicality of our industry. So there's a huge difference between, truckload transportation and the stock market. Stock trading, the buying and selling of a financial asset, whether it's digital or analog, is really just complete at the time of transaction. But in freight, literally, the rubber needs to meet the road. And you have to actually go pick up and you have to deliver the products. So while the pricing and the procurement activity might look and feel commodity-like, unlike commodity trading, these orders have to be fulfilled in the real world.
Lily, I've heard from all corners of the supply chain throughout COVID, whether it's big executives at shippers or executives at carriers or brokers as well. They've all talked about how the supply chain has come together in a more collaborative way since the beginning of COVID. Have you guys seen the same thing? And what do you think the impact of that is long term?
Absolutely. And I think that's tremendous. And I think it's going to benefit the overall industry in the short and long term. So we've definitely been seeing this over the course of the last few years, and it's accelerated over the course of the last year. There is so much going on in the industry right now, and I'm finding a lot more collaboration. I feel like everyone is also leaning into the digitization of freight. I think that, different parties are coming together and really figuring out what needs to change in order to drive the industry forward.
Lily, I've got one last question for you before I let you get out of here. As of mid March, here we are. What are you most excited for the rest of the year?
Oh, a number of things. I'm excited about the continued innovation that Transfix is really bringing into the market. I'm extremely excited about the ways in which we're continuing to partner with our shippers, our carriers, to really help them grow their businesses. And I'm excited about a lot of the innovation, Andrew, that we're seeing in the space. As I've mentioned before, it's a huge space, and I think there are so many opportunities for improvement. And I'm excited about all the ways in which Transfix is going to play a role in that, as well as other players coming in.
Lily, can't agree with you more. I think innovation is one of the most exciting things in our industry. We have so much happening from autonomous trucks to digitization and automation, robotics. Everything is going through a revolution, and it's only been accelerated by COVID-19. So, Lily, thank you so much for taking the time today. And I want to give you a moment to give a shout out, tell anyone listening to where to go find out more information about Transfix.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Such a pleasure. And thanks for having me on. And you can go to transfix.io for more information.
All right, everyone, stay tuned for a jam packed day at the 3PL Summit. We've got a lot coming up for you. You all enjoy.